Assalamu alaikum, I'm Aisha and you're watching Samaa News. Here are today's headlines. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi has accused the United States of relying on fake intelligence and making strategic miscalculations in its decisions over the war with Iran and the Strait of Hormuz. In a post on X, Araghchi said Washington's actions around the strategic waterway represented an even greater miscalculation, warning that worse than fake news is fake intelligence. Araghchi also accused France of double standards on human rights and international law, criticizing Paris for supporting Israel during the Gaza war while backing what he called aggression against Iran. Iran has promised a more aggressive response if another war breaks out. Brigadier General Rasul Sanayei, who serves as a political advisor to Supreme Leader Mojtaba Khamenei, said that Iran stood firm in the recent conflict and would stand firmer and more aggressively in any future war. On the other hand, Iran has rejected reports that the 60-day period set by the June interim ceasefire could be extended. An Iranian source told Reuters that there was no talk of an extension, arguing that the United States violated the agreement within 48 hours and withdrew from it days later. President Donald Trump has reiterated his claim that Washington has total control of the Strait of Hormuz and called the U.S. naval blockade a wall of steel. In a social media post, Trump said Iran could do nothing about the blockade, as Tehran and Washington remain at odds over efforts to revive a June interim deal and end the war. Iran's top military command has dismissed President Donald Trump's claim of total U.S. control over the Strait of Hormuz as baseless lies. Khatam al-Anbiya spokesperson Ebrahim Zolfghari said that no vessel could pass through the strategic waterway without Tehran's authorization. He said the waterway remains under Iran's full management and control. Meanwhile, Iran has called for compensation over an oil spill in the Strait of Hormuz that has reached Qeshm Island. Foreign Ministry spokesman Esmail Bakai said that preliminary evidence points to a foreign bulk carrier. He said the spill had damaged Gulf waters and demanded that those responsible help pay for the environmental harm. US President Donald Trump has said that White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt will leave her post at the end of this month to spend more time with her children and family. At 28, Leavitt is the youngest White House Press Secretary in US history. She took office in January 2025 and has received praise from Trump for her performance and leadership. Leavitt has said on X that serving as press secretary had been the honor and adventure of a lifetime. CIA analysts reportedly questioned Israeli intelligence about an alleged Iranian assassination threat that prompted a secret operation to move President Donald Trump to another aircraft after leaving Turkey last month. The Washington Post reported that US officials viewed the intelligence as Israeli-derived and low confidence, but the Secret Service proceeded with heightened security measures. Trump was secretly moved from Air Force One to a smaller military aircraft before flying to Britain. The episode has raised questions over the credibility of the intelligence and whether it was intended partly to influence US policy toward Iran. President Abelardo de la Espriella has said that the death toll from an earthquake that struck Colombia on Monday has risen to 265. At least 3,494 people were injured and 496 remain missing, with rescue teams focusing on finding those still unaccounted for. De la Espriella has said, "Our efforts are focused on the disappeared." A total solar eclipse was witnessed across parts of Spain, Iceland, and Greenland, briefly turning daytime skies dark as millions gathered to watch the rare event. People have used protective glasses to safely observe the eclipse, which was the first total solar eclipse visible from Europe since 1999. Near Iceland, totality lasted about 2 minutes and 18 seconds. Meanwhile, the eclipse began at 8:34 p.m. Pakistan time, peaked at 10:46 p.m. and ended at 12:58 a.m. However, the eclipse was not visible from Pakistan. And Cuba is marking 100 years since the birth of Fidel Castro, amid one of the worst economic and political crises in its history. More than 1,500 international activists have joined commemorations as severe power cuts and US sanctions deepen pressure on the island. That's all for now. For more updates, visit www.samaa.tv. Thank you for watching Samaa News.